2019, the property owners indicated their willingness to sell the property and invited the Ministry of Justice to commission a valuation from the National Land Agency to facilitate negotiations for the final sale price of the premises. The ministry had indicated its interest in acquiring the property for the continued use of the Westmoreland Family Court and Victim Support Unit. The relocation of the Westmoreland Family Court from its current location was not recommended at this time, given the cost to establish another court and the inevitable inconvenience to the court staffers and residents of the parish. In terms of reports, Cabinet received and approved the following annual reports and/or financial statements to be tabled in Parliament. National Irrigation Commission Limited for 2018. SCJ Holdings Limited for the period ended September 2011 and March 2012. National Family Planning Board 2018-2019. We move on now to contracts. Cabinet gave approval for the award of a contract to Abbott Rapid DX International for the procurement of 4,000 determined HIV test kits for the National HIV STI Program in the amount of US $415,527.32. The Ministry of Health and Wellness estimated in 2015 that there was HIV prevalence of 1.6% among the general population. Cabinet gave approval for the award of a contract for the supply and delivery of one amphibious excavator for the National Irrigation Commission Limited in the amount of $76,384,187.90, inclusive of GCT, and this contract was awarded to IMCA Jamaica Limited. An amphibious excavator or floating excavator is a type of excavator that can perform dredging while afloat on soft terrain such as swamp, wetland, and shallow water. Cabinet gave approval for the award of a contract to Campion Industrial Equipment and Supplies Limited in the amount of $96,516,210 for the Essex Valley Water Supply and Upgrade Project, Phase 4B, New Building Pipeline Distribution System in St. Elizabeth. And finally, Cabinet gave approval for the award of a contract to Bell Safety Limited in the amount of US $809,559.75 for the procurement of protective clothing for 355 firefighters of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Minister Williams, for the update from Cabinet. I do know that we have invited Minister Samuda here this morning to speak a little bit to the program that was announced by Prime Minister the Most Honorable Andrew Holness on Sunday. The e-commerce national delivery solution ends, and so may I invite Minister Samuda to just give a quick update on that, and then we can take questions from members of the media.
Good morning, all. Morning, colleague ministers, Madam Permanent Secretary, other senior members of staff, and to all those joining us. The Prime Minister would have announced the Electronic National Delivery Service and its pilot, which is scheduled to be launched this Friday in Portmore, St. Catherine. The idea is that in an equitable, inclusive manner, we will connect demand and supply outside of curfew hours, or rather inside of curfew hours, because as we have said from the very beginning of this pandemic, our target has been to protect lives and livelihoods. This is one program that we believe will continue our policy direction, which was outlined by the Prime Minister to ensure that there is indeed business continuity and that there is also protection of those who interact in the commercial environment. The program is simple. It allows businesses, largely in quick service industries, to apply, to participate, and to work beyond the curfews outlined. It allows those who wish to participate in the delivery service to also apply and to be reviewed and approved to provide that sort of delivery. We have, in partnership with the PSOJ, developed an electronic portal where persons can put forward their applications, and beyond that, the public will be able to access both delivery and order their goods and services, whether it's food, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it's supermarketing, through this portal, and ensure that they're able to get it delivered. They'll be able to see which taxi or approved route bike will bring their delivery, and most importantly, we believe it does not create any significant security risk because the system is designed to be cashless. Now, this brings a whole raft of efforts and initiatives together. The Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology met with us yesterday, and they will be assisting with a program on the ground to provide greater technological literacy and to ensure that through the USF they're able to go on the ground and teach vendors how to use the systems. We've had significant meetings with the agencies of the Ministry of Local Government. SDC is on the ground, and the municipality, the Portmore municipality, is on the ground providing engagement services with not just large businesses, but your pan chicken men, as we've used, your fish vendors from Helsha, to ensure that the program really does bring significant participation of MSMEs to the people of Portmore. But beyond that, we've also had conversations with the local telecoms providers. We expect to have a very good announcement later this afternoon. One has already committed to the program being zero rated without significant push. And our larger private sector companies have also agreed to adopt small businesses. So a pan chicken man who is near to a larger business will find that there's outreach taking place between the PSOJ members and these smaller businesses to help them on their digital transformation and to connect supply. What launches Friday and what is important for people to note is that this is a pilot. It's not that every single business in Portmore will be open. Persons will be able to start applying for participation tomorrow, and those applications will be reviewed by the SDC, the Portmore municipality, the Transport Authority in the case of the transport operators, and indeed the JCF to make sure that these are compliant businesses. Now, as with all pilots, we expect some successes, we expect to have some difficulties. We will work collaboratively to ensure that the Prime Minister's vision does come to life and that we are able to continue commerce in a manner that the country can indeed be proud of, and in a manner that is reflective of how other more developed nations have conducted themselves during the period of curfew. This is an effort that came out of the COVID subcommittee of Cabinet. The Prime Minister had directed that myself, Minister Mackenzie, and Minister Montague look at this program. I think we're in a good place for this weekend, and we expect to be able to upsize the program both within Portmore and into other parishes very soon after. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Minister Samuda, for that update on the ENDS program. And so may I ask members of the media now, if they have questions, they may use the raise hand feature on our Zoom platform to be able to do so to any of the ministers here today. Of course, Minister Favour Williams, the Honourable Favour Williams, presented on the main cabinet outcomes. We also have with us on the Zoom platform Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, as well as, along with Minister Samuda, the Honourable Robert Nesta Morgan, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. And so I'm now looking on our Zoom platform, and I recognize Mr. Javon Keys from Television Jamaica. Javon? All right, I believe he's up now. Javon, remember, you must unmute yourself, and then you can, of course, ask your question. Are you hearing us now?
Good morning, everyone. I'm hearing. Good morning.
Good morning, Javon.
All right, so my first question is regarding the ENDS platform. Wanted to have an idea of the estimated cost for implementing this pilot, which will launch on Friday. And my next set of questions
Javon, if we could take them one at a time, please.
Okay, sure.
So that you would be able to share with your colleagues on the platform questions they may have as well. All right? So Minister Samuda, if you would.
As I had mentioned earlier, this program is a partnership of the government of Jamaica with the private sector organization of Jamaica. The IT development costs have been underwritten by the PSOJ at this stage. The initial communication and engagement is run-of-the-mill activity for the agencies within the Portmore municipality and within the area. So SDC is doing what it would normally do in terms of engaging persons. The JCF is doing what they would normally do. So at this stage, we have not taken on any costs as the government. As the program is expanded and we do work through the pilot, there will be some costs and the country will be advised of what the total rollout cost will be.
Thank you so much, Minister. Javon, you may have your follow-up.
Thank you so much, Minister Samuda. My next question is for Education Minister Favor Williams. Now, I understand that a number of private school educators and staff members are yet to be in receipt of the grants that I'm told they have applied for through the CARE program. Now, I wanted to have an idea of the number of grants that have been dispersed, as well as the number of persons who have applied for those grants and what would have caused the delay in disbursement, if you were able to provide that information.
Thank you for the question, Javon. What I do know is that through the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, there was some funding made available to teachers, some teachers qualified based on certain criteria in the private, for the private schools. PS, you have the number? You want to come say what those numbers are? And I do know that we have made good on that promise. And I'll ask the PS just to give the actual numbers.
Okay, so a total of 6,350 employees, teachers as well as administrative staff from both the private schools as well as early childhood institutions submitted information. From this number, 2,144 persons were deemed eligible and have been paid. We are currently in discussion with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service regarding the additional persons who had submitted information to see whether or not it is possible for more persons to be qualified. So as soon as we have been provided with that information, we will make it available. Just to say to you too, Javon, we have been in touch with the president of the Independent Schools Association. We had a meeting on Monday where we provided this information. There are some other queries that they have, but that information will be provided as soon as it becomes available.
Thank you so much, PS. Really appreciate that. I now recognize Mrs. Nadine Wilson-Harris from The Gleaner. Nadine? For those members of the media who are on platform, please remember that you must unmute yourself once we identify you. Nadine, you may go ahead.
Thank you. All right, so I have 3 questions here.
One at a time.
One at a time, okay, no problem. All right, so I wanted to find out if the amended DRMA is passed in the Senate on Friday, what's the timeline you're looking at what's the timeline being targeted for assent by the Governor General for the full implementation?
Thank you for that, Nadine. We'll ask Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, who is on the Zoom platform, to respond to that. Of course, she is leader of government business in the Senate as well. Minister?
Good morning, Naomi. Morning, colleague ministers, and good morning to the media. It is intended, as is recognized, to work as swiftly as possible on this matter. We all recognize that the intention behind the passage of the amendment to the DRMA is to ensure that there is an effective or a more effective enforcement mechanism in place. It is therefore, every effort will be made to ensure that the appropriate documentation is sent by Parliament to the Attorney General's chambers and then on to the Governor General for the swiftest possible assent.
Okay, and secondly, I want to find out, a ticketing system was raised. Is there the danger that this ticketing system will have as many or worse problems with compliance? Because we have seen compliance in terms of just sticking to the protocols as it is.
Let's have Minister Morgan, if you would, on that one. The ticketing system that was raised yesterday in Parliament.
Could you repeat the question specifically for me so I can get an understanding of it?
Ticketing system was raised. Is there the danger that this ticketing system will have as many or worse problems with compliance?
I don't know if I would say that the current ticketing system has an issue with compliance. I think the challenge that we have with the current ticketing system is the speed at which the government is able, as we reform the system, to hold motorists accountable for their infractions. I think this is a new system. It gives us an opportunity, based on the experiences that we have had with the police ticketing system, to recognize what are the risks. But we need to recognize that this is a crisis, and the government is trying to put in place measures to cauterize the crisis, to save lives. We would prefer not to ticket anyone. And you would have probably watched Parliament yesterday and hear the discussions about the fines and about the different changes we're making to the DRMA. It is not aimed at being punitive, because the reality of it is that we do not want to send anyone to jail. We do not want to ticket anyone. But we have to save lives. Our hospitals are being overwhelmed. So the question I would like to answer is, how can we get more citizens to wear masks? How can we get more citizens to recognize the crisis that we're having in the health sector? Not necessarily whether the ticketing system will be compromised, because we should not be here after 1 year of continually appealing to Jamaicans, continually having press conferences and so on, encouraging people to be safe, encouraging them to sanitize, keep a distance, and wash their hands and wear their masks. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Let me then go back to Mr. Javon Keys for his final question, and I believe Nadine indicated that she had one more, so we'll do that, and then we can wrap up. Javon. Mr. Keys? No, you'd have to unmute yourself, Javon. I think you're now muted. We're still not hearing Javon. All right, let's then go back to Nadine, and then we'll end with Javon if we can get him to unmute. Nadine? Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so I have two questions, if it's okay. Just wanted to find out, what will the government do to mitigate or manage mass crowds at shopping sites ahead of the lockdowns, and also to manage the potential swelling crowds at the mass vaccination blitz site on Saturday? So that's one.
All right. We'll have Minister Samuda take that one.
So the Ministry of Health, I think, for a little over 2 months have been meeting with security stakeholders and with other stakeholders in each parish where each site will be operated. The sites and the access to sites will be based on appointments. I know the appointment system is up and running, and persons will be able to access them with evidence of appointment. So we don't expect, especially during curfew hours, mass descent on any of these sites, but we do have in place the necessary systems for crowd control and for management in a way that is compliant with best practice to ensure there is no COVID spread. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Minister. Let's then now, I think Javon has sorted himself out, so let's go to Mr. Keys for his final question, and then we can wrap up.
Thank you so much. It was saying that the host had to unmute me, but no worries. My final question is for Minister Samuda. Last post-cabinet press briefing, I had asked, how is the Amber audit progressing? I wanted to find out whether or not we are close to hearing those findings and how far along is the audit currently.
So the assessments being done and the audits being done and the security investigations being done are all currently still underway, and we wouldn't be able to say how quickly they'll be finished. What we can say to the country is that significant work has been done on the system, to improve its security strength. Work continues to make its process, as it reviews applications for persons traveling to Jamaica, more efficient. And the system is currently functional with no major issues that we're aware of. There are also many streams of work as we continue to try and stay ahead of the curve with not just security risks, but ensuring that we put in place the best systems as you deal with not just the COVID pandemic, but future health risks. And I believe that the team at PECON, the team at the Ministry of Health, are working around the clock to continue to upgrade this system and to bring about changes that we will be in a position to announce soon to the total travel process, which I think will keep us in line with more developed partners and ensure that we're at the cutting edge of use of technology in the travel process. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Samoud. Our final question then, as was indicated earlier, Mrs. Wilson-Harris, our final question. Go ahead, Nadine.
Thank you. All right, so I know that millions of dollars was raised from a worldwide telethon last April to buy urgently needed personal protective equipment. Just wanted an update as to how much funds was raised and how that has been spent so far.
Thank you for that, Nadine. Minister Morgan will respond, and thank you so much to those who participated in terms of asking questions this morning.
Good morning again. It would be challenging for me to give you an answer to that question without consulting with Minister Grange. So what we will do is we will seek the answer to that question and report back to you on it, and probably call you and let you know what the answer to it is.
All right. Thank you so much, Minister Morgan, for responding. Thank you, too, to, of course, the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, the Honourable Favour Williams, Senator the Honourable Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, who, incidentally, ladies and gentlemen of the media, participated along with Prime Minister the Most Honourable Andrew Holness on a call yesterday with the UN Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, and the Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Justin Trudeau, on climate change financing. Went very well. This morning, of course, the Prime Minister will continue his series of meetings. He will meet with the Defence Board this morning, as well as several other very important meetings of national importance. Let me as well thank Senator the Honourable Matthew Samuda, and of course the officials from the Ministries of Health and Wellness and the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Thank you so much, everyone on platform, and for those who are joining us from home and abroad, for being with us here for our post-cabinet media briefing. Next week being our week not to be here, Holy Week. We wish you all a very pleasant Easter holiday season, and please stay safe.